This morning we're back to discussing Rwanda. That's right, on Trevor Phillips' Tory bias show, both him and his Tory guest, and I do mean guests because his panel is made up mostly of Tories, give plenty of airtime to claim that the Rwanda policy was an excellent scheme. So not only did Trevor Phillips tickle the tummy of Chris Philp, but his panel was also made up of the editor of The Spectator, a right-wing newspaper, a former Conservative Home Secretary Special Advisor, and a reporter from The Observer, which is probably the most balanced of the three. Phillips was straight in there defending Rwanda policy, claiming it only didn't work because it didn't start. I'm sorry, Trevor Phillips, are you now an expert on immigration?
So that's a yes. We are thinking about working with third countries in various ways. Why is this different to Rwanda?
Well, Rwanda was a failed gimmick that managed to solve absolutely nothing.
That's because you scrapped it. Why is it different? You're working with another country to help deal with this problem internationally. Why is this such a big difference?
Well, Rwanda wasn't working well before we scrapped it on coming into office. It was costing the taxpayer a fortune. It clearly wasn't working as a deterrent, and it wasn't resolving the issue at source. What we're talking about is resolving the issue upstream.
It was never going to work. It was an epic waste of money. He then goes on to speak to Chris Phillips, and he's given ample opportunity to claim it was going to be a massive success, which you can claim when you don't actually have it started and it was never going to work as a deterrent. Because if you think about it, if the thought of crossing an icy body of water in an overcrowded dinghy doesn't put you off making the trip, the thought of being a 1% chance of being flown to another country when you arrive there isn't going to pop you off either. Yet they seem to have forgotten that part. That's right, it was 1%, and everybody that flew there was going to cost us, the taxpayer, an extra 1.8 million on top of what we've already paid them. So we just forget all about that because it was going to be this great deterrent.
What we need is a deterrent, and that is why it was such a huge mistake for the incoming Labour government to cancel the Rwanda deterrent scheme before it had even started. It was due to start on the 24th of July. They cancelled it. And in the absence of that deterrent, of course, people are going to keep crossing. And that is why numbers crossing the English Channel have gone up significantly since Labour came to office.
But you bunged away something north of 500 million on the Rwanda scheme. Now you're going to support something which some people might say is just throwing good money after bad.
Well, look, we need to stop these crossings, and we'll constructively support the government where they have initiatives. But the initiatives they're announcing are not going to be enough.
But if Rwanda was a deterrent, why isn't a deal with Kurdistan or Turkey going to be equally a deterrent?
Well, they're completely different things. So just to be clear, they are not proposing, as far as I can see, to return people, have a returns agreement with those countries. They're proposing to work with those countries to prevent departures in the first place.
Okay.
Now, that's all well and good. I'm, perfectly happy to support that, but it's not going to work as a deterrent. To deter people, they need to know that if they illegally and dangerously cross the English Channel, they are going to be immediately removed somewhere else, and that's what Rwanda did. And these deals don't do that.
You're talking about the deterrent, but actually, whereas Rwanda basically only got 4 people, I think, most of them members of government, to go to Rwanda, the Italian scheme has cut the boat crossings into Italy by, I think, 62%. This sounds like a better bet, don't you think?
Oh, first of all, the Rwanda scheme never actually started. It was due to start on the 24th of July.
And you spent 700 million on it.
And it would have saved us a lot of money had it been started, because the deterrent would have stopped people crossing the English Channel. We know that because it worked in Australia.
Before the election, they didn't really have to answer serious questions on it because the Tories were doing so badly anyway, as with many other policy areas. But since scrapping Rwanda, they haven't really had a good answer to what is the deterrent effect on that. It's all well and good to talk about smashing the people smuggling gangs, but what about the people themselves who still want to come over here?
But the truth is, Labour doesn't know how to stop these crossings either. The EU doesn't really know how to stop these crossings. No government really knows how to stop people crossing the Mediterranean or the Channel, and they can invest more in trying to stop it. But I also think there needs to be an honest conversation with voters. Governments don't like doing this, but it's genuinely really hard.
I think the guest from The Observer had got a point. It is going to be hard. What she got wrong, though, is people don't know how to sort it out. They do. It's very simple. It's whether it's easily implemented or not. That's what I'm not so sure about. But the only real way to sort it out is to set up more safe and legal routes. That will stop the crossings. Set up some immigration centres in France. That will stop the crossings. Processing the backlog of people already waiting here. would cut down on the amount that we're spending on asylum accommodation. These are sensible solutions, and I noticed nobody's mentioned that Labour, since being in government, have actually already deported 9,000 people, whereas the Tories only managed to deport 4 volunteers and an extra cost of £3,000 each. Yet the Tories still seem to think that they are the good guys, and you can see that in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.